Hello and welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. We have Shaka Hislop, Stevie, Nicol and myself, Kay Murray, looking ahead to the big weekend in the Premier League, and there is a big game coming up at St James's Park on Sunday as we see third play second. It's Newcastle against Arsenal. You do wonder how many would have predicted these two teams would be in this position at the start of the season. Looking at the odds coming into it, Newcastle are slight favourites. Obviously, home advantage there for them at a stadium where the fans are always raucous. Let's welcome in Frank Leboeuf, shall we, as well as former Arsenal player Kieran Gibbs. Let me start with you as well, Kieran. This is a must-win for your former club.
Yeah, they're all must wins now. I think this is probably their biggest test of the season, I would say. Eddie had them so well drilled at the Emirates. And I think a lot of teams didn't really respect how good Arsenal were for most of the season, except for when Newcastle went there. I thought that their defensive display was brilliant. So this one I do worry about for Arsenal. You know, the likes of Saka, Martinelli, I feel like at the Emirates, like they were doubled up on. They didn't give any space to the midfield, to the likes of Ødegaard. They were tight, they were aggressive. And so, yeah, I think that this one's going to be, I think like Eddie would probably make them watch this. He'll probably make them watch that game from the Emirates earlier on in the season, and he'll want exactly the same. And then obviously, like you say, St James's Park is just going to be a nightmare to play at. So I think a win here for Mikel, he'll be over the moon. I think he knows how good this Newcastle side can be. But I still think the boys will pull through.
OK, so this is the predictions here. Arsenal with 2-1 here. So even though Newcastle are favourites, you've got them losing at home. What makes you think that Arsenal will pull through?
I just think that experiences that they've gone through, that they bounced back brilliantly the other night against Chelsea, albeit that they're not in the best form. But I just think that they found their form again.
Newcastle is simply the favourite, naturally the favourite. Again, they can score goals, they're very strong at the back, they're powerful, they are without any doubts, they have no pressure comparing to the Gunners. So it's why, because they feel free, they're going to fly to the victory.
Shaka is saying that Arsenal are going to beat his former team, Newcastle.
I don't want to jinx them, Kate. That's what it is.
Double bluff.
The old double bluff, 360, whatever it is.
Is it really that, Shaka? Or is there a feeling?
Listen, I think given Arsenal's disappointments and any response you saw against Chelsea, I just feel Arsenal are back to their best. And I've been saying all season long, it's a lot easier to chase than it is to lead. And I think Arsenal find themselves in the position of chaser. I think they will find a form that they hadn't seen for some time. Yes, the response against Chelsea was exactly what was needed, but that was Chelsea, and we've spoken about that. For Newcastle, as well as they're playing, I think it's results that maybe you could expect. Lost to Villa, which I thought they were decidedly second best in that one I spoke about. Then the Spurs game, Spurs being Spurs, and then Everton and Southampton, games you would expect them to win. I think this is a test unlike any that Newcastle have faced, at the very least, since that Aston Villa game. So I'm on the fence as to how Newcastle cope with this. And while I think Arsenal will finish top four, no question, regardless of this result, I think so much of Arsenal's own season rests on them being perfect between now and the end of the season. And they know that. And I think they find that kind of form that they need. So my head is saying Arsenal, even if my heart is saying something else.
Stevie can't decide, so he's going for a draw, right?
Well, no, I think there's goals in it. And to be honest, I think of the two sides, I think one side's relishing this game and the other side's a little apprehensive. And I've got to say, I think Newcastle are relishing it. The team's going to be after it. The way Eddie Howe's had them definitely playing at home. The crowd, I'm surprised they're not there already. They're probably sitting there now in the dark. That's how much this crowd wants to get after this Arsenal side. So, if there's a winner here...
Without their coats as well.
I'm going for 2-2, because I think both sides only know how to play, and that's going forward. And Arsenal, as I keep saying, particularly the two centre-backs, even though it's Kieran who's in now, I don't trust them. And I certainly don't trust them against a Newcastle side that somehow Shaka managed to play down, beating Spurs 6. He somehow managed to turn that into, well, it was only Spurs and, you know, the little unfortunate. Yeah, right. Nobody wants to go to Newcastle and play Newcastle. Nobody, regardless of who it is. Never mind just Arsenal.
Kieran, would you stick with the team that Arteta played against Chelsea? Did you like the changes he made?
Yeah, I actually really liked Jorginho. I thought he was brilliant the other night. And I probably would go with him again, actually. I thought he controlled the game well. And I think, especially at St James's Park, like, you just need someone in there that's going to sit in and just keep things calm. I would like to see the same team.
Do you know what? Do you know when I look at that? I just thought of this right now. Look at the size of that team. That Arsenal side. You've got 3 defenders with some size at the back for Arsenal. The rest, you don't fancy them in the air. You don't fancy them in challenges. I mean, look at it. Where's the strength in that team? And I think it's Newcastle. Look at the size that Newcastle have all over the place. So that's just another reason why this is going to be tough for Arsenal.
Yeah, well, probably no doubt about that, it is fair to say. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one all plays out. Let's turn the focus... let's stay with Newcastle, actually. Just taking a look at their starting 11 in that 3-1 win versus Southampton. What have you liked what they've done this season, Frank?
What I liked about Newcastle, I like the fact that they play as a team. You have no stars, but everybody is committed to what they have to do, and they do what they have to do, and on top of it, they do what I call the extra function, where they do more than what they have to do. They stick to the coach tactic. They have a very good spirit. They play the way I like football to be played, meaning vertical, very fast, with a big pace. And again, I like the spirit. I like the atmosphere of St James's Park as well. So you cannot forget about that. It's one of the best, if it's not the best atmosphere you can find in England. And the spirit is copying the spirit of the fans, fighting for the best and fighting for all. And that's what I love about Newcastle this season.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.